Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We are going to start. My name is Phakamile Khumalo. I am the Public and Media Skills Development Manager at Media Monitoring Africa. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to join us for this very important launch. Media Monitoring Africa, in collaboration with Children and ALT Advisory, welcomes you to the launch of the Children's Digital Rights Charter. This Digital Rights Charter forms part of a bigger document, a discussion document by MMA on the rights of children online. And the aim of the Digital Rights Charter is to give an effect to an internet that is accessible, that is safe, empowering, and that advances the development of children in line with their rights and interests. So thank you so much for joining us. We promise to have a very short but to the point and very powerful session on children's rights online. Just a few housekeeping rules. Please, if you're not talking, please can you mute yourself so that whoever's talking can be heard and be clear. Please make use of the chat box to ask questions or add comments. We'd really appreciate your comments and your questions and feedback on the launch, or as well as a discussion document once it's been launched and made available to you via the chat box. Without further ado, I'm now going to hand over to our director, Mr. William Bird, Director of Media Monitoring Africa, to formally welcome you and to officially launch the discussion document. Over to you, William.
Thank you, Phakamile. Good afternoon, and my apologies for being late. I was having some technical glitches. The beauty of technology, I guess, but at least I've got access. So today's a very special day, obviously, being World Children's Day. I want to thank all of our partners, our special guests being our children, of course, and then we've got some other really special people as well who are going to be there to comment and share their views on this very important document, actually. An enormous thanks to our lovely friends at ALT Advisory. I can't see you on my screen at the moment, but I'm sure you're there. Thank you very much for your hard work for this. And of course, again, to reiterate, thank you to our children from our Web Rangers program for sharing your views, thoughts, and ideas. I mean, this is hugely significant, actually, that we're doing this today on World Children's Day. That's down here on the bottom corner of Africa, our wonderful continent, that we are launching something that, as far as we're aware, they haven't done anywhere else yet, which is looking at coming up with a children's charter towards digital rights. So there's a lot of these things have often spoken about, many times spoken about children, very often without children. And it's been one of our tenets and principles of operation as for the last 17 years, that when we work with children, we do so in a way that actually genuinely seeks to include their voices and their views in the way that we do these things. And so the last couple of years, we've been making sure that we try and include children's views and voices on critical policy issues. Why? Because policy is the thing that shapes how ideas are then formatted. Policy is the evidence, the body of work that then enables government to make decisions. It's the way that starts to structure how those decisions are made and taken. And if we want people to take children's views and voices seriously, it's important that we actually solicit children's views and voices on issues that directly affect them. And of course, there's this lovely contradiction, which is that children take to technology and to the internet a lot more easily and a lot faster than most adults do, in fact, right? They usually seem to have a far more intuitive grasp of technology, of what to do with it when it's in their hands. And all those of us who are parents with small children will often find ourselves embarrassed by our teen children who can do things that we didn't know our devices could do. Those of us who are lucky enough to have those. And even those of us who've got small children, you'll find that you can put a device in a small child's hand, and in no time at all, they'll be playing with it in a way that you'll think, my goodness, I don't understand how they did that. So you've got this thing where children can take to technology so well and so easily. And then you've got against that this very stark reality, which the overwhelming majority of children throughout the world have, which is that fundamentally that is a tool and a device in a world that is not engineered for them. Where it is built for children, it's very often done to exploit them, to exploit their vulnerabilities, to exploit their developing knowledge and ideas. It's done in a way where the algorithms are there to sell them stuff that they really don't want or need. It's done in a way that doesn't allow children to make themselves feel safe online. It's done in a way that fundamentally ignores and marginalizes children's voices, children's views, and critically their rights. So despite this wonderful and amazing tool that has literally changed the face of our world, we see that, like so many other areas, children's views and voices are completely marginalized and excluded as a general rule from that. And that fundamentally is unacceptable. So when we talk about this idea of what do we mean around digital rights, in this instance, you'll see that in this report, it's framed broadly around ideas around access, participation, and safety, and the intersection with those things. So for anyone who thinks, well, this isn't really a rights issue, well, that'd be fundamentally wrong, because this new world that is changing that has changed our environment is fundamentally a one that is about digital. What we have to make sure we do, particularly in South Africa and on our continent, is make sure that children have access to that world, that they have meaningful and informed access, and of course that they have meaningful and informed participation, and of course that they're able to be safe online. And that doesn't mean that adults come down and tell them, yeah, children, here's how you need to be safe. No, not at all. This is about children having the skills, equipping themselves to be able to be safe, to exercise their own digital footprint in a safe manner. And that's why our Web Rangers program is so absolutely critical, because it's not just about saying this is what to do and what not to do. It is fundamentally a tool that empowers young people to know how to navigate the online space. Given that this is their new world, fundamentally, it's about making sure that they have the skills and are equipped with the ability to navigate that environment. So with that in mind, we've been working over the last several months on this very exciting document around children's rights online. And towards the end of the document, you'll see the actual digital charter that these children have come up with. And I'm telling you, it is scintillatingly good. Anyone who's thinking, everything's going to hell in a handbasket in our world and in our country and all of the rest of it, there are many, many, many reasons to feel depressed and concerned about the state of our world. Let's be clear. Most of the time, it's because of stupid adults who do stupid, irresponsible things and forget that the most important people in our world, our most important citizens, our children, are the ones whose views and voices we exclude. And we forget that actually, whatever mistakes adults make today, our children have to live with tomorrow. So this is such an amazing and important step for young people to be able to participate and express their views and critically express their rights. This is such a wildly, brilliantly exciting document for anyone who likes action films or thriller things. Don't worry about that. You don't need that this evening. Go and read this document and you will sit there and you will be thrilled and enthused. You will see throughout this document, there are sections where it's the voices and views of the children specifically. And then you get to the best part at the end, which is, of course, the charter that they have come up with. It's scintillatingly good, and I'm so fantastically proud and delighted and thankful to the children who participated and grateful to our team and our partners. And with that, I'm going to let them do the talking of the stuff that is even more ridiculously cool. It's really a thrill to have you all here. Thank you for being with us on this very special day. Thank you, Phakamile.
Thank you so much, William. And you're definitely right. I was fortunate enough to be part of facilitating the development of the charter, and I was blown away at the kind of knowledge and skills that our young people are coming up with, and that they're adding in a way of when it comes to access, issues of participation, and issues of online safety. And I don't want to spoil it. They will be the ones who are giving us all the details regarding the charter. Nomshato, our comms manager, is having a little problem with sending us the link to the document. But as soon as she has the ready link, we'll be able to send it to you by the chat box, and you'll be able to access the full document. But before then, I want to welcome you to this really exciting section where we're talking now directly to the children that formed part of the charter, that took part in creating this really amazing charter. And I feel like it is a start of a bigger conversation around digital rights online, around children's digital rights online, and how do we start to work together in different industries that work with child online safety, that work with children's rights. How do we start to work together to ensure and actualize and make it a reality for these children to be able to enjoy these digital rights? And so I'd like to welcome our young speakers. Our first speaker is Letlotlo, and she will be talking about theme 1. We have Busisiwe, who's going to be doing the closing for us. We have Matthew, who's doing theme 2, and we have Lisha, who's doing theme 3. But I just want to welcome all of them now. Can you guys unmute yourself and just say hi to everyone?
Hi everyone.
Hi, Matthew.
I'm Matthew.
We have Lisha. Lisha? Hi. You look like you're at school. Are you at school? I saw your picture earlier. Lisha? Okay, do we have Busisiwe? Busisiwe?
Yes, hello.
Hi.
Hi,
hi. And we have Letlotlo? Yes, I see Letlotlo over there. Hi. How are you guys? We're good. So I just want to.
Fine, thanks. How are you?
We're very good. We're excited to hear from you. I just want to start off kind of introduction to this section. When we're speaking about children's rights, the Charter highlights the rights of children online. Why is it important for the Charter to focus on children's rights online, Busisiwe? Why is it important for you guys to be participating in a Charter that focuses on children's rights online?
I think the most important thing to that is to protect the identity of the children, and more than anything, them being safe, because human trafficking can happen online and manipulation and all that can happen on the social media. So I think it's very important for that to be done, like for the child's identity to be protected.
In terms of online safety, right? I think we're losing the thought there. And Busisi, what do you have to say on the topic? Why is it important for the Charter to focus on children's rights online?
It is important for the Charter to focus on children's rights online because we get a lot of things happening to the kids in their space. They're not fully aware most of the time of the things they're doing. They might not be in the right space. They could get judged, bashed on it online. Most kids end up committing suicide because of it. So, yes.
Thank you so much. And we want to dig deeper into the understanding children's rights online. And you guys, when you guys were developing the Charter, you focused on three main themes, which is around access to the internet, around online participation, and around online safety. And Letlotlo, you were the one who volunteered to really dig deep into theme 1. Can you please highlight the rights under the theme around access to the internet that you feel that government and tech companies working within the child rights and safety field should respond to? So we have a couple of adults that are here that are from government and child rights organizations that want to hear you, want to hear what are the things that came up, what are the rights that came up under each theme, and they want to respond to those themes. So please, can you highlight some of the rights that you guys felt were really, really important under the access to the internet theme? This is to Letlotlo.
I'm sorry, Phakamile, can you please repeat that? My network is really bad.
Okay, so I said, can you please highlight the rights under the theme 1, which is access to the internet, that you feel that government and tech companies working within the child rights and safety field should respond to? So we created this charter because we wanted input and we wanted feedback. We wanted people to respond to it so that it could be a living document that really informs how we move forward in terms of child rights online, in terms of online safety when it comes to our children. So please highlight some of the rights that you guys felt were really important under the access to the internet theme. Letlotlo, you please unmute yourself.
So I think the rights, one of the rights we talked about was the right to a different platform for the children. So when we have Facebook and when we have YouTube, we have YouTube, and then we have YouTube for kids. So that should be one of the things that should be considered. Like, I know there's parental control on Google, but then I think if we have children with their own platform and own like social media, that would have the online safety situation controlled, right? And then sorry, can you guys hear me? This network.
We can hear you, Letlotlo.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Hello.
We can hear you. Can you hear us?
No.
You can't hear me properly. Okay, so I'm going to ask Letlotlo to maybe leave the meeting and then join back in, and then we'll come back to you. Is that fine?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to move on now so we're going to get back to the access to the internet because I really want to unpack some of the rights that they had mentioned during our workshop. I'm going to move on now to Matthew, who did online participation, which is the second theme that we had discussed during the internet. Please unpack it for us, Matthew.
Well, it is crucial to consider children's perspectives and experiences when drafting policies that govern the use of young people's digital use, as well as when designing the technology itself. Because it opens our minds and gives us kids more opportunities, such as learning, participation, and creativity, and should take our views and opinions seriously and act on it.
Thank you, Matthew. And when you were participating in this workshop around building the charter, how did that make you feel? How did participating in something that is considered such a high level thing for children to participate in, normally it would be considered to be something that children shouldn't participate in, or that maybe children are not initially sought for input. How did it make you feel being able to participate in such a really important document that is going to inform how we move forward as a country in terms of online safety and children's rights online?
Well, it made me feel proud to take part in this thing and to be a web ranger, because there are a lot of kids whose voices are not heard, like in these times when you need them to speak. So I feel happy about it.
Thank you so much, Matthew. We are now going to move on to our last theme, which is around online safety. And Lihle is going to take us through the different rights that are highlighted under the theme online safety that you feel, Lihle, that government and tech companies working within the child rights and safety field should respond to. What are some of the themes, the rights, that were really strong that you guys feel that adults in the room today should know about?
Okay, so children have the right to privacy, which means that tech companies need to ensure that their terms and conditions are short, easy to understand, and informative. Tech companies also need to ensure that they limit the request of personal information, especially when it's a child. Second of all, children have the right to privacy again because victims or perpetrators of CSAM have the right to be forgotten and their dignity respected. So we ask the government to ensure that the right to be forgotten is ensured in the legislation to lower the risk of self-harm and mental and emotional harm. Lastly, children have the right to, to know digital literacy. So yes, we know that digital literacy will go a long way, ensuring that children know their responsibility. But we ask parents, teachers, tech companies, and the government to be held responsible for the child's online safety.
Thank you so much, Lisha. You had some really powerful ones. You had the right to privacy and limiting of personal information. You also talked about the right to be forgotten, which is something that we in South Africa don't have. And maybe we should explain it a bit to other audience in terms of the right to be forgotten is, for instance, when a child has done something that they're not proud of, something that really kind of damages their reputation or damages their dignity, or infringes on their dignity and so forth. They they ideally in an ideal situation they would have that right to say, can tech companies, can I be forgotten? So when someone Googles me, they won't be able to see something that I've done that was posted and that went viral on Facebook or on Google or wherever. And that's really that right to be able to say, can that part of my life be forgotten by the internet, so that I can move forward knowing that, yes, I've made this mistake, but it's not shaping the rest of my life, basically. And they really, during the workshop, they really spoke a lot about that. And we had instances, and they came up with examples in South Africa where children have sent nudes, and nudes have been gone viral, or children have taken video of themselves doing things that are inappropriate, that they are really regretful of, and they really wish that they had the opportunity to be forgotten by the internet. Moving forward. And so, Lisha, thank you so much for that input. I see Letlotlo saying that she's back. Do you want to pick up? So we had Matthew with online participation and the importance of participating, and personally how it boosted his confidence. And then we had Lisha on online safety, talking about CSAM and about the right to privacy. Letlotlo, are you back on? Can you hear me? Do you want to carry on? Do you want to continue?
Sorry, yes, I can hear you. So now it's better. It's much better.
No, thank you so much. Feel free to continue, Letlotlo.
Okay, so one of the rights we spoke about is the right to internet access. So that right that we spoke about we had a really deep conversation about that. We think the Wi-Fi or the fiber, however, they will be receiving the data, or the data. They should restrict the Wi-Fi, be able to restrict the Wi-Fi, and the Wi-Fi should not be able to have access to certain apps that could lead to internet illnesses, like chat rooms and whatever. And then we also spoke about the right to having free devices. So government supplying schools, so children could have, since we're moving to the fourth industrial revolution, I think it's important that children should have some sort of device to be able to do their schoolwork, even when, like, we are affected now by COVID, and also have student centers where they are able to get internet access and be able to do their schoolwork at any given time. We also talked about having the fiber or the Wi-Fi in their homestead, so that they will able to have Wi-Fi at any time of the day, and just do their work and be able to study and access the internet at any time. We also talked about the right to digital literacy and media. So I also think it's important to be able to train the children and educate them on the internet. But then it also starts by the parents, because every child sees something from someone. So it's important that the parents also have to be trained in order to train their children in order to have a safe internet. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Letlotlo. And I think one of the two big points that you mentioned there was around access to the internet, and having some sort of access, whether it's data, whether it's fiber, Wi-Fi, some sort of access to the internet, and this be in schools or in community centers, where children can be able to access the internet either for school or for recreational purposes. And then the other one that you had mentioned was around digital literacy. It's something that Matthew, I think, and Lihle also mentioned around digital literacy. So we have access to the internet, we have devices in schools, but do our children or do our young people know how to effectively and responsibly use these devices to be able to advance their lives and that of others? And so that's really the big thing that Web Rangers we try to highlight, right? Is to create active digital citizens who know how to use the internet responsibly. And I'd like to go now head on to, we've had our three speakers who were really strong in terms of highlighting some of the rights that are in the charter. I want to now go on to our adult speakers. We have Laurie Less from the FPB. She's the Shared Services Exec. We have Toby, who is the Chief Communications and Partnerships at UNICEF, and we have Sylvia, who's the Safety Policy Manager at Facebook. I want to start off with Laurie and say, from government, how do you respond to some of these points that are mentioned, especially around the right to be forgotten, access to the internet itself, and the access to devices? Laura, how do you respond to that as government with these really high level kind of comments from our children in terms of what they believe should be their rights?
Thank you. Thanks, Phakamile, and thanks to everybody here. Thanks. Wonderful to hear the children speaking out and actually being the authors of their future as well. I think it's critical. Look, I'm representing a regulator, and I think that to kickstart, we know that with all freedoms come a lot of power, and we have to unfortunately limit that power. And or at least not limit that, but at least have some form of control. It is absolutely critical that we balance the understanding of what the internet brings to us, and particularly to our learners. Specifically now, as we have all of us moved over onto our internet platforms, for learning as well as for accessing knowledge, information, etc. And the problem with that is that if it's left unguarded, there are a couple of things that we as part of our mandate is to look at the protection of children from the accessing of illicit materials, child sexual abuse materials, as well as the ongoing grooming that we find happening on these sites. So whilst the internet per se brings a lot of very important, extremely important opportunities for our learners, our children, at the same time as adults, as caregivers, as the children themselves, they need to understand and be made aware of many of the ills, the social ills that is attached to that comes attached to the fact that, for example, there's also fake news. As young as they are, they might be doing a project at school, and they might come across all kinds of information or disinformation. They might come across pedophiles who seek out vulnerable children so that they may be groomed. They might come across illicit material, X-rated material, and there's scientific evidence that there's a correlation between the child's development and or early exposure to harmful materials. Additionally, and I think it's an area that we often lack when we have these webinars, even us as the Film and Publication Board, is the very, very big area of gaming, the immersive elements to that. And we often talk about during COVID how parents have relegated the TV or the iPad or the simple cell phone as your surrogate parent. So parenting has almost, or the iPhone has overtaken parenting during this period. And I do understand that we have many jobs as parents. We have to be their educators as well. We have to attend to work duties. We have to attend to the household duties. And so it makes it very difficult. But when it comes to things like gaming, and often an area that's often neglected, we must not forget the immersive content that we have to deal with. There are also studies that show that this could lead to gambling. There's a whole lot of online or gaming, I would say, challenges, not necessarily evils, that I think has come to the fore, that kids must be, or learners must be made aware of. So it is our, as part of the Film and Publications mandate, one of our core mandates is the protection of children from harmful or early exposure to harmful material. So we think that a children's charter on cyber safety is absolutely critical. I think it's phenomenal that you've had the children or the learners themselves driving that and having their voices heard. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Laura from, that's Laura from FPB, Shared Services Exec, talking about some of the initiatives that FPB are also driving on board. And it's really critical, I think, as I said earlier, this is a start of something that industry and child rights experts and online safety experts can work together on. There's so many things that we're doing in different sectors that we can bring together to ensure that some of these rights that are highlighted in this charter can be actualized and realized and pushed, even for it to be a living document that is really placed in schools, placed in community centers, and especially on board, bringing on board parents. I have a comment from George who says that it's important to train parents as an important principle towards making child participation a reality. Child participation requires trained adults. Parents cannot be tech shy. And I think that speaks to bringing parents on board in terms of understanding what digital rights. I mean, parents have done a really good job over the years in understanding children's rights overall in general, and what their children have the right to. But in terms of this new space, this digital world, we really need to bring parents on board to ensure that they also understand, they also are on board in terms of understanding these digital rights, and how do they make it a reality when children are outside of the school, when children are in community centers, when children are at home accessing the internet. How do they participate? How do they keep themselves safe? And I want to now bring in Toby. How do you want to respond to some of the rights that have brought forward by our amazing young people here today? How can we work together to ensure that these rights are realized?
Yeah, thanks so much. And firstly, thanks so much for having me on this discussion. I'm delighted to receive this charter, and it's such impressive work. It really is. And congratulations to all the children on the call now. It's also, clearly couldn't be better timing given COVID, given that people have been spending so much time at home, online when they have that access. And it's actually, as it's World Children's Day today, it is a day for and by children. And that means it's critical, as William said earlier, that we hear from children, because it's your energy, your creative ideas, your visions that are really key to shaping the world and shaping the digital world in particular now. World Children's Day marks the sort of anniversary of the Convention on the Rights of the Child, which was the main international treaty on children's rights and ratified in '89. And I think it's important just to give this quick context, because it was ratified and it came into being pre the internet, essentially. But it does include rights impacted by the internet, like the right to access information, to mass media, to be protected from violence, abuse, to get an education, and also sort of cultural activities and play. So it's really important that this digital charter that you've put together speaks to the issues that are out there today. I just wanted to go through those 3 key points that you raised. First of all, on the access. Access, of course, is absolutely critical. And I think it's, the COVID world has highlighted the digital divide, essentially, in South Africa, but also beyond that. UNICEF ran a YouReport survey, an SMS platform. That was quite shocking. Statistics showed that only 11% of young people reported they have access to an internet and a laptop. So clearly access is an ongoing challenge. And linked to that, we are launching what is called the sort of reimagine education. So coming out of COVID, how can we connect every child, every school to get everyone online, essentially, so that everyone has the same opportunities to access digital learning, to be able to engage online with their peers, to be able to access sort of job opportunities, etc. And we highlighted that in a report that we just put out today as well as one of the key recommendations sort of moving forward, that everyone has connectivity. But the response to that, and it's in your charter, but the response from our side is that it has to be collective. To do that, we have to bring together sort of multiple partners, essentially, from the government to private sector to civil society to UN where relevant. So really, we have to come together to achieve that, and it's a work in progress now. I mean, the Reimagine Education angle, the goal of that is to reach 500 million children and young people globally with digital learning next year. And then by 2030, which is the Sustainable Development Goals and South Africa's National Development Plan, is to get every child and young person essentially connected by 2030. So it's a massive ask and a lot of work, but it's about broad-ranging partnerships, about zero rating as well, and all these elements that have to come in. But one thing I wanted to respond to as well in your charter, talking to children out there, is what I really liked was the sort of equity approach that you took in there. You really highlighted those children who often miss out, children living with disabilities, the blind, the deaf, and how we need to tailor this response and make sure that everyone's included. And that also includes the multiple languages that people speak. And the content that goes out online needs to be inclusive. And I think, once again, that is about multiple partnerships. It's about bringing everyone together to make sure no one is left behind, essentially. So just a few points on that. And then quickly, just moving on to the participation, I really like the way you covered everything pretty much in there, from games to education to self-help. The games was important for me that you put that in, because it is, being online, the experience is about fun. It's about having fun. It's about increasingly connecting with peers, particularly in this sort of COVID world that we're currently in. But at the same time, accessing information and education and learning. And I thought also the interesting angle that you touched on was access to jobs. So online, job applications and how you can sort of really maximize that online. And I think UNICEF has been working with governments across the world and including here in South Africa on a big partnership called Generation Unlimited, which very much looks at exactly that, is how can we help you to transition when you're at that age from school, from education into working lives. And that, I think, increasingly will be online, and how those jobs and opportunities can be provided online so you can access and see what's out there, essentially. And then finally, online safety really obviously has been spoken about a lot and is absolutely critical. I mean, I agree 100% with the comments around parents. It's absolutely key that parents understand the online world, that parents engage in the online world and what children are doing online, and really know how to sort of help to navigate that. But also, I just wanted to say one thing that maybe I didn't see as much of, but I'm sure it's in there somewhere. It's also yourselves, children and young people, how you need to be empowered to be able to keep yourselves safe. But also, in terms of sort of cyberbullying, for example, research shows that when children, young people or others come together to condemn bullying that's happening online, it actually goes down. So if everyone can come together and tackle that, then actually you can tackle it as a whole group, a big group of children, young people coming together. And that's why we actually launched a campaign with TikTok recently called Sharing Positivity. And it was based on that aspect, to bring people together, to start having a more positive online conversation, and trying to drown out those negative voices. And I think that's obviously ongoing work, but I think empowering yourselves is absolutely key, but certainly not taking away from the responsibility of ourselves, of online tech companies, of government and others to support that process. So just a few points, but once again, thanks so much, and excellent work.
Thank you so much, Toby. And again, I also want to just highlight congratulations to our young people. The kind of comments and detail that they have in this charter around what you said around children living with disabilities or children that are differently abled, around the detail that they have in order for them to equally access the internet, to equally participate, and for them to also be safe on the internet. So there's a level of detail that really is really astonishing and just shows how powerful our young people are when they're given a chance to voice their opinions on issues that affect them. I want to now go on to Sylvia, who is the safety policy manager of Facebook. Sylvia, there was Lihle mentioned the right to privacy and the right to not have so much information from that social media or online platforms that are asking from me as a young person. Can I not be asked so many questions, so many personal questions? And there's another one that that Lihle didn't mention, but is in the charter, around having terms and conditions or terms of service be easily understandable for our young people. They were really complaining about the fact that it takes time for them to read and understand the terms of service, and so they really don't know what they are clicking yes to. So they wanted it to be easily understandable, just like how easily it is to navigate Facebook. They want those terms and conditions or terms of service to be easily understood, and so those are the kind of rights or issues that they had brought specifically under online safety. And so we would like you to respond to those.
Okay, thank you so much, first of all, for inviting me for this session. I think this is really an important launch, as rightfully put by all the speakers who came before me. I think it's commendable that the children of South Africa are leading this process, and I'm hoping that this is something that other children in Africa will also see and also lead such processes in their country. As Facebook, we take the issue of online safety very important, especially online safety for children in Africa. And that's why I was hired to take this position, to listen to these conversations and take in the input that we are hearing from the children and experts like yourself when it comes to online safety. And so in terms of the issues that are being brought up to do with child privacy, to do with terms and conditions and how explicable they are, especially when it comes to children. This is an issue that we also take seriously. We take the rights to privacy of children on our platform. And in doing that, we ensure that the data that we collect from children is only data that is needed to set up their accounts, but not intrusive data that we need to learn more about them or to use for advertising. So when it comes to children or minors using our platform, they're not exposed to things like adverts, and we also give them a different experience than that of our adult users. And so for us, privacy is very important, and privacy of minors on our platform is very, very important. In terms of our terms and conditions, yes, we do work, especially with experts on the ground and with partners like yourself, to make these terms and conditions easily accessible to young people and also easily understood. We acknowledge that we are a global platform, and so even as we are actioning and developing these policies and terms and conditions, we do it globally. But when it comes to their implementation, we have to ensure that we are also able to implement these policies locally. And so that's why this is the place that our partners are very important to us. So we work closely with our partners to develop resources that can help to explain these terms and conditions and also make them accessible on our platforms. So on Facebook, we have the Facebook Safety Center, which has a session that is dedicated to our young users called the Youth Hub. And when you go there, you will find information that will help you understand these terms and conditions and our community standards as they impact on our young users. The same for Instagram in their safety center. And when I look at the charter and in particularly the work on online safety, I think you have done a very, very good job in, number one, helping us to really understand where are these issues and how do they intersect with the rights of the children online. And also, this is something that is very important to us. When I reference the documents that were sent, the issue of child sexually exploitative material is something that we also take into account, and we ensure that our policies are addressing this. And when we're talking about the right to be forgotten, one thing that we do as Facebook is when such content is reported to us, we actually delete it from our platforms. And more than that, we make sure that we have given it a special, we've hashed it and given it a special fingerprint to prevent it from being shared across the internet. So we work with different technology players just to ensure information, especially about children, that is being used to violate them or is being used to abuse them, is not something that can be easily distributed. When it comes to issues of image privacy, and especially when it's image privacy concerning a young child, their parents can come to us and fill a form and say, this is an image of my child and I do not want it to be on our platform. And once they fill that form, then we have a right to also remove that image. So we have different policies in place to ensure that we are respecting children's rights on our platform. And so with that being said, I really welcome this document, and I'm looking forward to working with Media Monitoring Africa, as well as ALT Advisories and the Children of South Africa, to ensure that this thing, the different points that have been brought out in the charter are actually addressed with even us as a company. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sylvia. I think that the one thing that comes out very clearly from this discussion and this charter and discussion document as a whole is that it is not just one person's job. It's not tech companies. It's not business. It's not government. It's not child rights expert organizations. But as a collective, working together to be able to ensure that the different facets of children's rights online are realized, and working together to ensure that we produce a holistic understanding, a holistic approach to understanding children's rights online. And so I'd like any comments. This is an opportunity now. We 8 minutes into closing. I'd like to get any comments from any of our audience around the charter. If you've had a chance to look at the charter, because I've posted it on the group chat, or any comments from the learners that you've spoken to, or any questions from the adult experts. This is your chance now. Any questions from the audience, or any comments from the audience? Okay, I'm going to take that as everything was quite clear and to the point. I'm going to ask Busisiwe just to join us again. Busisiwe, are you here?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Okay. Can you, in closing, I'd like you to close for us by answering this question. What is the one thing that you want parents, schools, government, children's rights organization, and tech companies to take away from this charter? So what is that one thing that you want the adults in the room that are in here to take away from this charter, just in closing for us?
So I would want the right to be forgotten, to be what's the word? Oh, ma'am. Okay, implemented. Yes. So, ma'am, because with child sexual abuse material, ma'am, people make mistakes. People are judged on that. Parents don't know how to deal with these type of situations. They judge their kids. They shout at their kids instead of talking to them. So with this, it also helps the teen or the person who had posted the material to deal with themselves, to be in a space where they can actually talk about it and not feel depressed. So this also to basically the right to privacy also, that inflicts on it a little bit somehow, because when you post these things, yes, you expect some type of judgment, but it shouldn't be harmful. As Sir Toby had mentioned, that at TikTok they started something that called sharing positivity. You are positive. So with the right to forget, you are actually helping the person.
Okay, thank you so much, Busisiwe, on that. I think the adults in the room are listening, and they're taking it very seriously, because that's the next step, right? When children are given a platform to be able to voice their opinions on important issues that affect them, the next step is then to take those opinions and take them seriously and act on those opinions and those views in order to be able to ensure that child participation is a reality. And so I'm going to end off here by saying thank you so much to our beautiful child guests and speakers that have really driven this charter from the time when we wanted learners to be able to come on board. You guys came on board and you took it and you created something that is really something exceptional and something excellent that we can work with in terms of realizing digital rights online. Thank you to the adults in the room that have come and listened to the children that are speaking on very important issues and And then I hope again that you will take this forward and ensure that you are helping our young people to realize these rights online. Thank you to our partners that have taken the time to speak on these issues and listen and go through our discussion document. I have sent it onto the chat, so please, even after this session, please go through the discussion document. Now is the time, and we are open now to be able to get feedback on the discussion document. It's a living document. It is not a finalized document. We still want to get input from our children. We want to get input from child rights experts. We want to get input from our online safety experts, for our partners at Facebook and government departments like FPB. We want to get feedback from you so that it is a document that we can be proud of as South Africans and make sure that our children's rights are realized. And with that, thank you so much. If you want to follow us, if you want to follow MMA, please follow or like us on Facebook and Twitter. That's where you're going to see all our events coming up and all the events that we have with our learners. It's at Media Matters ZA. So please follow us for more information on this webinar and other webinars that we're hosting with our young people. Thank you so much for taking the time. We did very well. We are 5-2, so we did very, very well. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. And we welcome again your comments. Please feel free to comment and to have your voices heard. I have a hand from Anna Baker. Feel free to chat to us.
No, I was just clapping you and saying you've done a very good job. Thank you very, very much. So
thank you so much.
We assure you of our support, and we will definitely be setting up groups to discuss this. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And please, if you need any kind of assistance, please let us know at Media Monitoring Africa. My email address is phakamile@mma.org.za. Please let us know, and we'll be more than happy to assist in getting input for this discussion document. Thank you to our partners at LT Advisories. You guys have been just amazing in terms of helping us kind of build and put forward a very strong and convincing document that we can really be proud of as Media Monitoring Africa. So thank you so much for all the support in getting this document. Tina and Avani, you guys are just amazing and brilliant. Thank you. It's now 2 minutes to 8. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you to our web rangers. Again, you guys have been the star of this. You guys have really been the star of this, and continue to shine, continue to have your voices heard. This is just the start. This is just the start, and you guys must move forward knowing that you guys are capable and have the knowledge and skill to be able to impact on policy and discussion documents like these. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening. Happy Friday. Thank you so much to everyone. Goodbye.